everyone, welcome to today's unboxing with Yoseka stationery video. It's Daisy, and today's unboxing video is going to be unboxing the newest Fine Writing International Scepter series fountain pens. These were released by Fine Writing International. They're from Taiwan, and we actually worked with Fine Writing a few years back to bring their Bronze Age fountain pens to the States. A lot of people loved using those. They make some eyedropper fountain pens. These in particular, the Scepter series from Fine Writing International, were released in April of 2023, so super recently. And these are actually not eyedropper fountain pens. They are vacuum filling fountain pens. And there's one that's a piston filling fountain pen based on the color. So we'll take a little bit of a closer look at what these are all about. They are really pretty fountain pens with resin bodies, and they're known for using like an alkali and acid resistant material to coat the inside of the barrels of these pens, since they do make eyedropper fountain pens, vacuum filling fountain pens, and piston filling fountain pens, where basically you are filling the pen directly with ink inside the barrel as opposed to using a cartridge or converter. So that is one thing about Fine Writing International's pens, is that they do have pretty big ink capacities, and something that you run the risk of for certain ink filling pens where the ink is directly making contact with the inside of the fountain pen is just kind of like more wear and tear, more staining, and that is where like that really thick walled barrel comes in handy. You know, you have like a really durable fountain pen that won't leak ink, and the ink, if it's either more acidic or more basic, won't be giving the resin any issues with cracking or things like that. So Fine Writing International does make pretty durable fountain pens when it comes to that. So let's take a look at these Scepter series fountain pens. We have a blue Scepter and a green Scepter series, and they are vacuum and piston, so they each have their own fill mechanisms. So here in front of me, we have the blue Scepter series fountain pen from Fine Writing International and the green Fine Writing International Scepter series fountain pen. They look pretty identical. They have the same dimensions, as you can see here, and they have like sort of an interesting shape thing going on. I'll show you with one of the pens. On the back of the pen barrel over here, there's sort of like a crown motif, which is where the Scepter series comes from, and that is on the cap finial as well. The interesting thing about the shape of these fountain pens is that the cap is thicker, and then it kind of tapers where you would hold the pen, and it's not really, it's not like it's thin over here, but it is ever so slightly thicker over here, and then it kind of widens out a little bit at the base over here, making you think that you can kind of like stand it up like that. So you can stand it up like that. You can stand it up like this too. Probably works better the other way. But yeah, you can stand these pens up like that on your desk if that's something that excites you. They are screw cap fountain pens, so they're both screw cap, and they have an ink indicator window right here. So that is like this transparent section above the grip section of the fountain pen that allows you to see into the fountain pen, and that's super helpful when it comes to eyedropper fountain pens, vacuum filling fountain pens, piston pens, because that way you can see when you are getting low on your ink, and you know you don't run into the issue of like bringing your pen out and then all of a sudden having no more ink, because you can kind of see when the ink is running low. So they do have this ink indicator window here, which is super thoughtful and nice. And then the nib on these Fine Writing International nibs is a Yowo number 6 nib. For the green pen here, the green Scepter series, it is just a stainless steel nib. And this one is a piston filler fountain pen, which you would twist this back section over here. You would twist it back, and then you would twist it down and then back up. So this works similar to a lot of other piston filler fountain pens that we know, like the Lamy 2000 or the TWSBIs, which you all know Yoseka loves so much. So this is just your standard piston filler fountain pen. And I will note that it's like a pretty smooth piston as you twist on it. Of course, as you use that over the years, you might have to grease it up a little bit to preserve that smoothness. But other than that, it's a pretty standard piston filling fountain pen with your Yowo number 6 nib. So that's the green one, and it is such a pretty green. It's like it reminds me of sea glass, these nice like blues and greens, and how it's just a little bit translucent, transparency in the body over here, so you can even see the darkness of the piston over here. So it is a little bit of a demonstrator quality. The next pen that we're going to look at is the blue Scepter series here, and this one has a different filling mechanism. This is not a piston filler, this is a vacuum filling fountain pen, and it's kind of a different vacuum than what we're used to seeing from, for example, the Custom 823 or the TWSBI vacuum fillers, or a lot of the other vacuum fillers on the market today. So this one works a little bit differently, and I will be inking it up to show you all how it works. So other than that, the kind of like the features of this pen are very similar, identical, I would say, to the green one. It has a screw cap, and it does have, I forgot to mention this before, but both of these pens have a spring-loaded screw cap. So there's a spring located in the cap that allows for an airtight seal around the nib, which is really good for keeping your ink nice and wet and preventing your fountain pen from drying out. So these pens do have that spring-loaded cap, which you can feel the spring as you cap it, similar to Platinums. So as you screw the cap off, you can see it's the same Yowo number 6 nib, and Fine Writing has sort of done a little customization on it. So their logo is like this feather, this quill. So it does have like a Fine Writing International special customization, but it is a Yowo standard Yowo number 6 nib. And this is like a blue-black nib as opposed to the stainless steel nib that we saw before on the green color. And the same ink indicator window here. The difference in the blue one versus the green one is that if you twist this back section here, it is not a piston, it's actually a vacuum. It's a vacuum pump, and Fine Writing mentioned that this vacuum pump technique that we're filling sort of mechanism is adopted from the Parker pens, the Parker vacuum pens from the 1930s. So I'm excited to kind of try this one out. It's just pushing on it. It's a really kind of smooth pump. It's a well-greased pump. It feels really easy to pump. And if all it takes is a few pumps of this to fill up the pen, then I'd say that's pretty cool. So let's see how it works. So today I'm inking up with a Kobe ink. This is Kobe ink number 17. It's Shioya blue. I thought it might be a nice blue for this blue pen. We'll see how it looks. This is an extra fine nib that we're inking up today, and we'll see how it writes. What I'm going to do when I fill this pen is just dip the nib of this pen into the bottle of ink, submerging it, and then I'm just going to press on this top pump over here. I'm going to press on it until the ink volume fills up. So we'll see how that goes. I'm going to tilt the bottle a little bit so that you all can see. I'll try not to tilt it too much. Okay. So it's a dark pen, and it's a dark bottle of ink, but hopefully as I pump it, you'll see that the ink will come up through the ink indicator window here. Oh, yeah, that was cool. Okay, it drew it up on the first pump there. And actually, since it's I think that's it. Since it is a slightly transparent pen, I was actually able to see the ink filling up in the barrel. Like, I was able to see a shadow rising up in the barrel of the pen as the ink level was kind of reaching up. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see, but I'll put the cap back on here, give the nib a little wipe off. And this is quite a comfortable size, just like this. I think that it doesn't post because it is like fluted out like this. The back of the pen it comes out and then it tapers down into the barrel, so it actually wouldn't be able to post, which is fine because it's a really nice balance and weight without being posted. Okay, so I have some Life. I have a Life Noble Note plain notebook here. I'll just do a little writing test. Yeah, that's a pretty nice nib, pretty standard. I think that the cool thing about this pen is probably the fill mechanism, which I will have to say is like super, it was really easy and very effortless to fill. I think it filled up the pen in 3 pumps. And I was pumping more, but I could tell that like on the 4th pump, the 5th pump, it really wasn't drawing more ink in, and you actually start to push the ink out at that point because you also would expel the ink using the same thing. So you would also push the ink out into a sink or back into the bottle, whatever you do, and that's how you would expel the ink. So as you fill up the pen and then you keep pressing it, you're actually just making more bubbles and you're actually just pushing the ink out. You're not really doing anything. So I will say that the pen fills up in 3 to 4 pumps from what I just tried, which is really good, and it feels like it's quite full too. So there you have it. That is the Fine Writing International Scepter series in blue and in green. They use a Yowo number 6 nib, and the green one fills via piston filler, and the blue one fills using the Parker style vacuum filling system of the 1930s. So I think that's a pretty good filling mechanism. I'm a pretty big fan of it. Didn't really get any ink on my hands or anything like that, and it was easy to just wipe off the nib. Didn't make a lot of mess or splashing anywhere. So I'm a fan. Let us know what you all think in the comments of this new filling mechanism. Or I guess it's not new. It's like vintage. There's nothing that's like really brand new in the fountain pen world, I feel like. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. Let us know what you think of this filling mechanism in the comments. Thank you for watching. Bye.